Hello, my name is Johnny. Welcome to another awesome collection, Pop Culture Edition. Today we're going to look at a coloring book featuring Combat TV show from the 1960s with Vic Morrow. If you'd like, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, reply, and share. So this was a piece of merchandise that they made, coloring books from TV shows. And you see Lieutenant Hanley and Sergeant Chip Saunders. And look at that, they had let the artist sign it. Salfield is one of the companies. A lot of these things were Whitman, but this one was that brand. Super value, 144 pages, 29 cents. This one's in kind of rough shape, but they're not that found that often. This one has some coloring in it, but not too bad. Let's open it up. It's very worn, like you see. It's from 1963, and this is 2023 when I'm filming it, so it's 60 years old. A kid's coloring book. I've done some coloring books before. I'll leave a link to one of them at the end here from the 60s, from different things. Let's take a look here. So that's showing through from there. There's Lieutenant Gil Hanley. Then Sergeant Chip Saunders, not too bad a likeness for just a line drawing. Very good show. I have the whole series on DVD. Tons of guest stars on it. And this one, I believe, some of the coloring books have long stories. This is more of a, a sporadic photos. You see a little coloring on that. He had his famous camouflage helmet on. And then I believe when we look at this, they're going to have some generic stuff in here too, Army stuff, instead of just geared for that. This tank is sort of looking like a Mark III or Mark IV, stylized there. I also do a ton of World War II 172 scale models, tanks, and so forth, so check that out in my playlist also. Marching through Holland. I don't know how they got them in Holland when, to my knowledge, the British were up north, and they're the only ones that got into Holland, and then finally towards the end of the war in 45, they got into northern Germany. America was France and a little bit of Belgium, Luxembourg, but not Holland. And here's some equipment. Also a big G.I. Joe collector, so interests me that way. There's Hanley leads a beachhead landing. Very first episode, they had them landing at Normandy. A couple of the actors are still around today, quite old. They're 90s. But Vic Morrow is gone for what's that, 4 decades now. Tragically died in filming that Twilight Zone, the helicopter accident. And I believe Lieutenant Hanley, he died under his own circumstances around year 2000. A little bit of color. You always wonder how a kid always decide, well, I'm going to just do 2 seconds of coloring on one page. There we go. And as far as back to the series, tons of guest stars. I always like to emphasize that. They had James Coburn, they had Telly Savalas, they had Lee Marvin, they had Charles Bronson. It's a name 4 of my fave action stars. Cool guys, at least in my point of view, from growing up as a boy watching their movies and stuff. So they were all in the series on an episode. Lots of different folks in there. And then tons of character actors, and then people that would go on to success later on at smaller parts. Bazooka. This thing sort of reminds me of a Daimler armored car, but that's British. I've got this as a German. Refreshing break. I also do classic toys, and they have life-size kid, like Monkey Division is one of the brands by Remco of equipment, including like canteens, and guns, and walkie-talkies, and bazookas, mortars, all kinds of stuff. To play Army was a big thing back then. I don't imagine too many kids play Army today in a physical way, but the world, what is it, World of Tanks video games is very popular. Equipment, I'm going to be careful. This was just like wet or something happened on this. I don't know if I knew it was as damaged as it was when I got it through the internet, that you don't see them too often, so I don't think I paid that much for it. Yeah, and then see, they do some other things in here that aren't strictly for the series. I'm trying to go through the pages faster, or I'll be able to finish. There's some neat. I always was fascinated by insignia and officers and enlisted officers, patches and stuff. Here we got some kid. It's pretty good. Whoever was doing this way back in the day. Combat was on ABC from 1962 to 1967. A lot of episodes. I think most of the seasons were 30 episodes except for the last one. And they were black and white except the last season. They switched over to color. Color episodes aren't as good. Not just because they're in color, but because of the writing and where they were filming and stuff. So they're not as much as my favorite, even though it's kind of neat to see them in color. People like Jack Lord, before Hawaii Five-0 was on one episode. I think he was like an engineer, sergeant or something, and they had to have them go along and lead them to blow up a bridge. The one with Lee Marvin was also, he was an engineer, and they had to blow up a bridge. Saunders shouts instructions. Along the Rhine. Getting closer to the end. Hard to turn these pages. They always had an American half-track that was covered over, that they put a turret and a machine gun in it for them to have to fight several times, and they were always notoriously in the MGM black plot in this town, fighting, blowing it up and fighting it week after week. Oh. Alright, round into the end here on the pages, gives you a full idea of what it's like. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. More TV memorabilia to come, and I also have some more coloring books types from the 60s for interesting things to share. Until next time, Hanley and Saunders await a new assignment. Thanks for watching, everyone.